Yeah, tis the season that the girls are in the kitchen and the boys are sitting in the other room. Anyways, I bought the foods we're going to serve in a minute to go with the wine. It's a little backwards. So
we should. I shouldn't finish this, is what you're telling me.
Well, it's going to take me a second to open up the package, but if you polish off the glass before I open up the package, I'll be very impressed.
Problems. Yeah.
So it's the newest one. I'm going to put the link on the show notes. This is the Peller Estates Ice Cuvée Rosé.
Can you get it here or only there? Like, can you
here,
get it
yeah. I just bought it right now, so I think it's a recent release. This has ice wine in it, so it takes the all love
of ice wine.
Dosage is the correct terms.
Thank you.
Yes. So at the very end, during the sparkling wine process, there is a. Most winemakers actually just add either a bit of sugar or extra wine or a liqueur of some sort just to bring the sugar levels up. Okay. In this case, Peller Estates got smart and said, we have ice wine. Yes. We're going to put ice wine in it. And they actually did this, or they produced this a number of years ago just with their standard sparkling wine blend, cuvee, but they actually brought out this rosé, which is a lot more buttery, creamy, that kind of thing. And when I think of a really good rosé, I think of smoked fish. I know you're a huge fan of smoked fish, but I found this smoked rainbow trout, and then I even found some trout roe. Wow. And then I'm just going to do simple stuff like fresh dill and creme fraiche, sour cream, capers, and Max heard capers. So that's okay. That's the whole idea of this thing. Dogs are barking and kids are running. You can actually say hashtag Oberdill. Okay, so welcome to episode 19, our first Christmas episode. I'm in my home kitchen, entertaining. It is before Christmas, technically the 19th, 20th, something like that today. This is a whole Christmas week. I'm taping all week. What I wanted to do is talk about Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. Kind of like the old Christmas Carol song or story. So this Christmas present obviously is going to be this week. So while I'm setting up for little foods and wines and everything else, I'll make little notes, make some suggestions, talk about entertaining with ease during this week. And then in between, I'm going to intersperse with some interviews with my family who are coming in the next couple of days. And my niece and nephew are going to be here. My son's going to be here. So we'll talk about all the different styles of Christmas, spending time with family, different recipes from long ago, those that wish that we can never leave, that we want to make over and over again, and those are coming newer. So as I'm doing this, just to give it a little toast, you heard in the little bit of an intro that we are celebrating with a glass of the Peller Estates Ice Cuvée Rosé. It is one of their newest launches in the LCBO right now, and it is truly festive and super creamy, and it is a beautiful rosé for toasting the holiday season. And I'm serving that, of course, with the smoked rainbow trout and some trout roe and some capers, and Robin's meticulously stirring some fresh dill, getting that ready. And we're going to just basically leave it very simple tonight because it's all about just sort of catching up because we haven't seen each other in a while. We've got some duck pate, baguette, some little rye crackers to go with the trout. The boys are on the other side of the room. You may or may not can hear them jabbering from here, but they've got a big cheese board. And a little bit later, I'm going to make a chestnut soup because Mike likes chestnuts, and it's also a very holiday-themed soup. And so we're going to roast some chestnuts whole, so I can show you how to do them. But then I also have not an open fire. It's called my open oven. It's Robin's first time in the podcast. She's being very quiet now, but she won't be in about a half an hour. So we're going to add some of the, you can buy peeled chestnuts roasted in a package ready to go. So I'll show you how the shortcut way, and I'll show you the long way. But then we'll have, we can basically sip on soup when we need some nourishment to knock back, or basically to counteract all this wine we're consuming.
Yes. Keep us even.
And it's obviously we're here on Flying for Flavor. Roes are eggs.
Right.
So eggs are only female.
Right. Oh, I thought you said why there would be male.
No, that's why I said there wouldn't be. Oh, no.
I was like, oh my god, I don't understand something because I thought roes were eggs.
No.
There would be male roe. I was like, oh, I would love to hear
Now,
this
hold on a
explanation.
second. Male roe.
There isn't. I misheard.
Yes. One time in Vegas.
Oh, well,
Okay.
There
then.
was
That's how
bunch
the
of
story
us-
starts.
At the
One
Elvis
time
a
in
bunch
Vegas.
of us went to a male row. I think it was Chippendales or something like this. Hold on a second. Is that... That's oversharing, right?
That's not just over. That's the wrong row.
Male row? No, sorry. I digress.
Really?
Okay. Anyways, what I did want to talk about, besides the fact, oh my god, now I've got visions of Mike at some kind of Chippendales thing in Vegas. That's a whole other. That's the after party show. Oh my gosh, we only got a couple bottles in. Okay. I only thing is I wanted to talk about, because we'll intersperse this with the other stuff, but I wanted to talk about what is different now about Christmas and holidays compared to what it was when we were younger.
Oh, where should I begin?
Yeah. How untraditional is it now?
Totally.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was talking, well, she's not a random stranger, but she's a lady that I know as an acquaintance, more than a friend, through my old job. And I ran into her today when I was at the doctor's office for an appointment. And that's exactly what our conversation turned to, was how different it is now from when we were growing up. And how for the longest time there were these traditions that you just did year after year. You went to the same places, you had the same meal, you saw the same people at the same time of day.
Wrote Christmas cards?
Yes, but like predictably. And now I look for ways to try to make my holiday as stress-free as possible. Like, I don't feel the same amount of
Less
pressure.
bad moms?
Yeah, but I don't feel that the same amount of pressure to that. I mean, we have our own traditions, but they're not necessarily having 30 people over, for a full dinner that you've spent all day preparing, and
Even I don't do that.
so.
Not that I don't love cooking for you guys. I don't love making the big dinners. But some of our most favorite times have been when we're basically doing this. Just eating whatever.
You're enjoying each other's company.
And who gets to pick the next bottle?
I would say...
Hashtag Wineapalooza.
I would say in my family, I do come from a somewhat traditional Italian background, and so it's like Robin was saying, is that the holidays, especially Christmas, it would be Christmas Eve at my one aunt's and uncle's, and that would be fish only.
That's absolutely.
And then Christmas Day would be usually just like the immediate family, and that would be a panettone in the morning.
Oh yes.
And so on and so forth. And then Boxing Day would be at the other aunts and uncles, and there were these huge family affairs. And I think back very much. What's the word I'm trying to think of right now? Like with a great deal of
Reminiscence?
yeah, like very fond. I think back very fondly on those things, but it's like things change. That was the old traditional way of doing it, and sadly, families sometimes like spread apart, and there's been a couple of divorces in the old Italian family, and so you don't really have that as much anymore, and but that was good, and now what is it? We like Robin said, we're starting like our own traditions, and we still do panettone. And we love our panettone. We had a little bit this morning.
I almost bought some today.
But now like when we go to my sister's New Year on Christmas Eve, it's a potluck, right? So like everybody's bringing something,
So that nobody spends all day in the kitchen.
yeah, and you know what? I think that's just great too.
Do you think that's a next generation thing though? Because I'm thinking about it how my mom, her sisters, and my grandmothers would never dream of anybody else doing food stuff in their own house.
Absolutely.
Where I think our generation is more open to, you know what, I'm going to make a couple things, but if someone wants to volunteer to bring me a pan of lasagna to go for the buffet, I'm in. If there's one less thing that I have to do, I'm in. And there's less pressure, or at least I don't feel the pressure anymore.
right.
And
That's what
I
it
feel
is.
okay by saying, know what? I'm going to make one big entree. So soups and stews are my themes this year. And then I'll put out a bunch of appetizers and nibbles, and this way I can socialize with everybody, and I'm not stuck in the kitchen.
I'll bring it down to the basics of two things,
Norm's going to summarize.
which is finances, which is a big part of it, and culturally what is non-acceptable these days that it was in the past.
Okay.
So I'm just going to generalize. Back then, and when you're talking about not when we were kids, but even back then, as far as even when our parents were kids, you had most families had one income generating families. So it was a lot more social. Finances, the cost of living, everything else, I'm not going to go much into it, but now you have dual income families. So the free time anymore is not as it was once was. And so the social aspect has come down. The second part of that is even if you had dual income, one income, whatever, then it was all about let's go, let's have a drink here, let's go to the neighbors, let's have a drink there, let's go here, let's go there. Socially unacceptable to be drinking and driving as it was potentially, I say potentially, for our parents and
We
grandparents.
can say potentially.
No,
Our
so
parents can
what
tell us it was
socially is
okay.
acceptable now, plus the time constraint. So the time constraint, in my opinion, comes down to the finances. We don't have much free time as it once was, and socially it's just not acceptable, and or for us to now take a taxi to go visit 3 people in one night and whatever. So to me, I bring it down to that. Not that people are bad or different or otherwise, just times change.
Well, I know, but I don't want to agree with you. I don't think that it's just finances, because even when my mother is not exactly rolling in the dough. My parents is an example, but she loves to entertain. She loves having people over. She's always bringing stuff here. She still traditionally does the Christmas Day. She still does the Thanksgiving. She still does the other dinners. But even she's cut back to where she used to make the big turkey. Now she's like, yeah, I just bought one of those like stuffed turkey roll things. And she's got a bunch of other side dishes and stuff. And some of her traditional things,
Yes.
she'll still do them.
Yeah.
But they're based on things that are easy to do.
Yes.
And she'll put more appetizers out
Yes.
than anything else. I think I've convinced her to cut back on the Christmas baking this year. Can't guarantee that because she just gets a little carried away still. But that's for the nostalgia of it. Not because she wants to have it and eat it and she's making it all, but she wants to be able to put that beautiful platter out at Christmas, right?
I also think that part of it is that it's become more socially acceptable
Yes.
to want to have time for yourself and to enjoy the company and to do other things. And I feel at least that there's not the same amount of, I'll say, social pressure, but I think it's also a little bit generational, where there was a different expectation, I feel, for my mom as the matriarch of the family.
House must be clean. This was what was expected of you.
And you know,
Yep.
and then to carry on the tradition of her family started by her mother, and that it wasn't as acceptable, and I don't mean this in a sexist kind of way, but that I don't think it was as easy for my mom to push back 50 years ago and say, no, I don't really want to do that. I don't want
it. Max was looking around the house thinking he was going to look for presents, and I told him, I said, don't. I said, because you will ruin your Christmas like it did when we were kids and found the mini Pac-Man game. Don't laugh. And then the mini Pac-Man game didn't show up for Christmas because we found it.
Yes, you got it.
So don't ever look for Christmas because it'll ruin everything for you. Next. Yes.
So I have a similar
We were
thing to
playing
that
with
too.
it for weeks.
My thing was I got Power Rangers VHSs as a kid as a gift, and from Donna, I think it was, and I wasn't allowed to have them for like 3-4 years because I kept jumping off couches and like trying to kick people and stuff. So they're like, you can't watch that because you're picking up on it. Yeah. And I wasn't even. And by the time I got them, I didn't even watch them anymore. So it was like completely useless to me. I'm like, oh, I don't even like this show.
We didn't want him having it. It's too violent.
So as I got older, I still continue to look for Christmas presents, and I found the hockey gloves, and that was the best Christmas gift I ever got as a kid. It was the Jofa hockey gloves. Oh yeah, I remember those. They had like buttery soft. They were like a baseball glove on the inside. Oh yeah. So I took them out and I put them on. And
I don't think we ever
put
told
them
her
back
that
in the
story.
bag and back in the drawer.
Trey, how
Yeah.
old were you when you found the Pac-Man games? You know those handheld video game things?
It wasn't handheld though. It wasn't handheld. Remember the Kathy and Nilo and Christine got it the same year.
I don't know.
But it was it looked like a miniature video game. It like the stand-up ones you play in an arcade, but it was like this tall. It was a tabletop version, and it had the little joysticks on it and stuff.
We found it in their closet, and so every time they left the house,
We
would
played
take
with
it
it.
out and play with it, and then put it back.
And then they came home too early once and caught us.
All I remember is that the best gift I got when I was a kid was the N64 the one year for Christmas. Because I had no video games until that point, and it changed my life forever.
Ruined. So I.e. ruined your life forever.
Looks good. Okay, so you're gonna punch this down.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like punch it. Okay. Well, how about you roll up your sleeves first?
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, Max, say hi to everybody on the microphone.
Hi.
Tell everyone how old you are.
I'm 10.
10. And he's my sous chef for the day.
Oh, great.
Cool. So I want you to take that dough
Yeah.
and go ahead and pull it out of the bowl, and I want you to divide it and make me balls about this big in each of the muffin tins.
How big?
About that big. And like small baseballs. About the size of that. And then if you find your hands are too sticky, you can put your fingertips in a little bit of flour. If you find it too sticky, do you find it sticky? Don't put too much flour because then it'll get hard. You don't want hard dinner rolls, right? They don't have to be too big. We're going to roll them again anyway. So divide, put 12 in here, and then if you still have dough left over, put some extras on the ones that weren't the same size.
Okay.
Make sense? Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. So I was originally going to add in the taped episode of my friend Mike helping the other night to make the Finnish pula, which is the Finn bread, as well as the chestnut soup that I referred to earlier. But it took so long for making the soup, and we recorded the whole thing, and as much as it was a lot of fun teaching him those things, I found that it was going to be way too long for this episode. So if you go to the show notes, so this week's show notes are stephaniepichet.ca/flavor19. That's FLAVOUR19. You'll find the link to the audio file for my tutorial with Mike on bread making, as well as the tutorial for the chestnut soup that we made. This way you'll be able to sort of listen along separately from this, so you don't have to miss out on anything. But I will include the recipes, of course, for both in the show notes. And I'm also going to have those two wines that we were talking about that night, the 1999 Chateau de Beaucastel Chateauneuf du Pape and the Peller Estates Ice Cuvée Rosé. And then when I finish up this podcast later this evening, we'll do little bits here and there about other wines that we tried and loved for our other dinner. So I was talking about soups and easy entertaining. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that my format this year, just because I didn't want to spend all time in the kitchen, is to do soups or stews. So we did the chestnut soup the other night and then just had nibbles. And then tonight we're actually making a potato, bacon, and corn chowder, which is going to be gluten-free because your mom can't, right? Can't have any kind of flour.
Celiac.
That's right, celiac. So we're going to use potato the potato is creamy enough that we don't need to have any flour to thicken it up. So we're going to use the potatoes and we're going to add a little bit of cream to it.
Yeah, my
And
mom can have this bread because I'm just using
she can't have this bread either, no. So that'll be, I'm sure you guys can plow through an entire pan of buns. And then Max is helping me now with my Nanny's buns. You remember Nanny? You used to call her White Nanny because she had white hair. Do you remember?
No.
She was short and she had glasses. You were very small back then, I think.
I don't remember.
Oh, she has her pictures up on there.
Oh, my great grandma.
Yes, your great grandma. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's grandma's mom, right? So
Yeah.
this is her recipe for the buns. So these dinner rolls was featured on a CBC radio episode a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to have a link to that just to show you the background story, the CBC link. You still have lots to
I have
do
a
left,
lot.
eh? I know. So divide it up into each of them so it's all the same size ball. Yeah. You need more than that. You don't want small buns.
No.
No. Yeah, so just do exactly this. Yeah, and then because we're going to show you how to change them up afterwards. So just divide it so it's all even. Don't forget to use a little flour if your hands are sticky. And then, the Finn bun was from my father's side of the family, so I'll have that recipe in there as well. If I can still find the CBC radio link from last year's Christmas episode that I did with them, I'll include that as well. And then, so now I got both grandmothers' bread recipes, and the common theme is canned milk. They both use canned milk in it. Weird, eh?
What is canned milk?
What is canned milk? Our theme is obviously past, present, and future, so Max has no canned milk. It's actually milk that comes in a can. It's not something you would drink like you would have with your cereal. Of course, I've seen people do it. But Nanny used to put it in, your great grandma used to put it in her coffee instead of cream. But they used to always use it for cooking because it doesn't have to go in the fridge. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is your favorite food to eat thing at Christmas?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. You have so many
drinks.
Sure, if you want to include drinks. What's your favorite drink at Christmas?
Eggnog.
Really? You like eggnog?
But you hate it or something?
Well, I don't hate it, but most kids don't usually love it. I have eggnog in the fridge. You never told me you liked eggnog.
Oh, okay. My dad thought you had eggnog, so
Yeah.
he was right.
I didn't know. Do you like fresh nutmeg on your eggnog?
I hardly even know what nutmeg is.
Does your dad ever put little, does he put like sprinkle stuff on top of it at all?
No.
So he just pours it out of the container and that's
We
it?
would just drink it.
You just drink it? Oh, okay. I won't tell you how bad it is for you.
Really?
But it's good you only have it at Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't expect eggnog, so that's an old throwback. And then what's the worst thing what's the thing that you hate that you always see at Christmas time that you don't like to eat or drink? That you only see at Christmas. That everybody always takes out or you have it at everyone's house.
I have no idea. I like all Christmas foods,
Okay.
but
You like all Christmas foods.
yeah. But
Turkey?
I like turkey.
And of course you love potatoes.
I like
Do you like cranberry sauce?
No.
Okay, there's one. Do you like turnip? Grandma used to make turnip.
Oh, I hate turnip.
Okay. Good thing we found one. We found a winner. Okay, so no turnip.
Yeah.
Doing a great job. Okay, and then let's just do. We did the eggnog, and so when you have
Oh,
Christmas.
we're running out, by the way.
Pardon?
We're running out.
That's okay. You can sort of even it up once you get there. Once you have, so we're gonna have the dinner rolls. So these buns, we're gonna have the chowder, and then I'm just gonna do kind of like we did yesterday, the cheese board, cheese and meats and stuff like that to snack on. I figured that's enough, and you guys didn't finish your Swiss chalet.
No.
That's a Christmas tradition. Swiss chalet festive meal. So it's Saturday morning, December 23rd. You're probably getting this in your podcast inbox a little later than normal. I usually have it uploaded by 9 a.m. But 'tis the season to have company in your house, and my second group for this week has just left for the day. So you're going to hear background noises of washing machines for laundry and dishwashers going. I think we're on second or third load already this morning, but it was a lot of fun. We have another group coming in tomorrow. We're not usually home this week every year, so it's been fun having a lot of the traditional Christmas visits and early gift exchanges and catching up and watching silly TV shows or movies together. My mother was even playing around a Kismet with her grandkids at our dining room table last night. all in all, there was a good mix of old and new. And that was kind of what my theme for this episode was about. So I hope you enjoyed some of the little behind the scenes of what it's kind of like at my house during Christmas. Just bits and pieces. A lot of times I was so busy just visiting with everyone that I completely forgot to hit record. And there was some times where I found that it would have been a little forced, putting the microphone in front of everyone when they're busy swapping stories. But they're new to this podcast like I am, so I'm not expecting them to be jumping on board right away. So feel free to take a look at the show notes for all of the recipes that I mentioned. I'm including the 2 CBC radio links about those 2 baking recipes that I've done over the last 2 Christmas seasons now. And I will include any other little wines that we had last evening that we maybe didn't talk about. And don't forget to go and look at the show notes also for the link to the audio of my little tutorial for making chestnut soup and the bun with my friend Mike the other night as well, because Mike is naturally entertaining, so we had a lot of fun in the kitchen that day. And I will be doing another one, believe it or not. I'm not taking any time off this holiday season, so the next one is going to be the New Year's episode. I will be in Chelsea, Quebec, just outside of Ottawa, for New Year's Eve this year, and I'll be chatting and visiting with some friends in the area. So they'll make little guest appearances if they wish to, but mostly Norm and I are going to be kind of recapping 2017, and I'll be explaining to him what my plans are for 2018, so you'll get a bit of a preview, because there's all kinds of changes coming, including a fairly new format. I am bringing on, I want to call them guest hosts, contributors. We're going to kind of do a team thing for Flying for Flavor starting in the new year. I'll still be taking care of the on the road podcast episodes and bonus episodes, but within the studio, when I'm doing my regular shows starting in 2018, I have a new trio that'll be joining me. So the 4 of us will have a lot more fun, and as opposed to listening to me talk to myself every week, which is not always fun, even about food and wine, I thought it'd be a lot more fun to have a few other voices and experts in their field to kind of liven up and bring new voices and new thoughts and flavor to the podcast. So make sure you check that out. I'll be giving some little plans and tidbits and all that kind of stuff on the next episode, which will be, I guess that's technically December 30th. So until then, have a very Merry Christmas from my family to yours, from my friends to yours, and we will catch up again later this year. Have a great week.